Ladies and gentlemen, I am joined by a rogues gallery, my partner in crime, pro golf critic, and our good friend, Red Harrington. And before Red speaks, I am wearing a hat that he sent me. He sent my daughter some Range Goats gear, and Red, I'll be forever grateful for that. My little girl is running around playing with that frisbee, took it to bed, loves her Range Goats cup. So thank you, my friend, for doing that. I really appreciate it.
Not a problem at all, man. The Range Goats is really good with their branding, and they had given those out and thought, you know what, this needs to get to a true Range Goat fan, and I know your girl loves them, so absolutely great.
She does. Thank you, mate. Now, we are here to wrap up the Open. It's not the British Open, it's the Open.
British Open. No, we're going British
We're
Open.
not going to do this already.
I'm sorry. I don't want to do this. We need to get this out there. Like, it's perfectly fine for all the British listeners. It's perfectly fine when people outside of the British Isles say British Open, because there's a lot of Opens out there. There's Opens here in the US, there's Opens in Australia, there's Opens everywhere. At some point, you just have to accept it. So let's just move on from this.
If people want to show their lack of understanding and call it the British Open, that's fine. I can't stop people sounding silly. Anyway, right. Let's talk about sounding silly. I said before the event that I felt that Bryson and Rory could really go head to head again. So I'm going to take a back seat. I'm going to take a huge back seat. I did, however, say that Xander was being slept on. So I didn't say he was going to win. I basically said four things. I went Rory and Bryson were probably going to go head to head again. I said Xander was being slept on. I said, and there will be a winner or someone finishing the top 3 or 4 that's just going to kind of come out of nowhere. And we really had a couple of those. And I know it's easy to come out of nowhere, but when I'm talking top 3 or 4. So Thurston Lawrence and obviously Dan Brown and like you could argue in a way Justin Rose, who had to qualify for the event. So and Russell Henley. So you kind of got 7 out of the top 6 or 7. You got 3 or 4 that really weren't what you'd call trending. So I'm going to take a back seat on Rory and Bryson. Dreadful comment. I'm going to take a huge clap on the back for saying why are people sleeping on Xander. He's been absolutely phenomenal all year. And then I'll take a mild clap on the back for some non-form players, non-trending players finishing well. Jay, tell me, where do you need to take a back seat? Because you've had to take a back seat a couple of times this week as well.
I mean, not really. There was really only one, well, maybe 2. So I remember earlier in the year, I basically went on a limb and said Joaquin Nima was gonna win this. Here's the thing, though. 2 things about that. One, you can't really make picks specifically at the Open Championship because you never know what the weather's gonna throw at the various sides of the field. Like who's gonna be impacted, who's gonna be completely screwed. I feel like Waka was one of those guys that kind of got hosed, and it didn't help him that he made 2 quintuple bogeys, which if you just take that out alone, like pretty much puts him in the top 10. And then today he made 2 doubles, and it's like, Waka, like if you could just get rid of those big numbers, he would have been in contention for sure. So that was one of the things that
I'm more thinking about the one where you said, "Watch Billy Horschel explode from here."
That was the other one. That was the other one. I will say, look, I gotta give credit where credit is due. I totally thought Billy Horschel was gonna totally wet the bed.
I think you said if there's any one player in the world that's going to eject himself from here, it's Billy Horschel.
Oh, because he's done it. Like, how many times has Billy Ho done this before? Like, we've seen it on this golf course where 2016 he goes out, shoots like 67 first round, and second round he shoots 85. So like, a tradition and sort of history that like these PGA Tour stands are always talking about, that was on my side. However, I gotta give him credit. Like, I thought that he was gonna play poorly, specifically over the weekend. He definitely had a couple holes, today that I was like, oh, here we go. Like, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen. So he shot, I think he shot 68 today, finished tied second. Like, I gotta give him props. This is probably going to be his best ever major finish in his career. I can't really see him beating this, but it is what it is. shout out
Yeah.
to Billy Ho. I did not see it coming, and he proved me wrong. So there you go.
Red, well, what have you said this week that's made you look like a tosser?
Uh,
Because we've both been honest.
Yeah, no. So I had 3 predictions. One, my pick obviously was very wrong. I'd chosen Cam Smith, but in my slight defense, I just kind of said I've been so wrong lately. I'm fading myself because I don't believe it's a good week for Cam. That ended up being true. Just he cannot figure out the driver, so it just once we figure that out, everything else will kind of come together. I think he was
And
like,
it does feel that black and white with Cam at a minute. Like you look at the last round at Valderrama, he figured the driver out, shot. I think it was 3 under at Valderrama, 4 under on the final day to finish in 4th or 5th place. He really is just figuring the driver out away from being phenomenal again.
yeah, no, he really is. And I like it's, and actually the putting, which is his number one tool, is only mediocre for him right now. So just a lot of room for him to get back to where he was. It's just been a bit of a struggle this year, except for the Masters. I know a lot of people, we'll leave that for later. But and then I had picked Semi Valimaki as just kind of for fun, but I really believe that someone who was going to be hardy and really stand steady against the wind was going to do well. So that wasn't necessarily wrong, but definitely the person I picked was. Shout out Lawrence. I thought he did pretty well.
Yeah,
He
Justin,
actually I kind of bought in there for a little bit today. I thought he was going to do well. And then apologies to you, Ben, but I did pick as my who's not going to win. It was anybody from England. So I dodged a couple bullets there.
It's not. Well, Justin Rose. Look, as someone who's half South African, Justin Rose ain't English. Like let's like
who's more English? Is it Justin Rose or the adopted son Billy Horschel?
Mate, neither English.
He's
neither.
People were yelling at him go up the irons or whatever when he was out there. I was dying laughing.
Yeah, look, that's because football is so tribal here in the UK, and I've got no issue with it. I'm a Man City fan. I've been to probably 100 games, home and away, lots of games over the last 35 years, and so I've been there and seen how tribal it is. It is very cool when someone who is not from your area of the world starts to support your team. Mm-hmm. And for West Ham fans, it is quite cool. They've got quite a good fan base. They've got a loyal fan base, yeah. They used to play at the Boleyn ground, and they left there, and it was when they were at Upton Park, and people were very sad. So, like having someone who like Bill, and Billy's got a bit of a fun personality, and actually is quite a good West Ham type fan. He's a bit of a hard ass, gets a bit of a piss. Like it fits the brand. So yeah, having that's not a problem. But yeah, Justin Rose.
You like the bag? You like the bag?
He is kind of English.
His bag is nice.
Oh, the West Ham bag?
Yeah. Is it?
Look,
does he have that? Is he getting paid for that? He has to be, right?
No, not at all. No, he just loves West Ham.
I think he's just pandering, frankly. But, look, I could go on for an hour about all the reasons why I don't like Billy Ho. This performance does not change anything.
We discussed it before. I like Billy Ho. So you said no English people will win, so you were right. So we've all sounded stupid and said silly things, and we've all got some things that were right. Saying an Englishman isn't going to win the Open, by the way, mate, is not that big of a big of a like prediction. Like the saying my fellow countrymen aren't going to win when bless him, Tommy Fleetwood looks like one of the best players in the world. That I maybe go out and say he might never win. Like he's just one of those players.
There were a lot of Englishmen in the top 20. It just wasn't the ones that we thought. Like obviously, Justin Rose finished second.
Dan Brown.
But then you have Matthew Jordan finishing 10th.
Dan
Brown finishing 10th.
Did you see? I have a new nickname for Matthew Jordan.
What?
He's Water Boy because he always finds level par.
Yeah,
471. That's got to be some sort of record, right?
I can't recall anything like that happening. I will have to go back in the archives and verify, but yeah, that's a hard one. I know people have made 18 pars, but yeah, finishing 4 rounds.
About 471s. What's more impressive than 471s is Justin Thomas, who went 60 day 1, 110 day 2, 60 day 3, and then put the first one on the beach today. Like, and obviously I'm exaggerating. I'll get the actual scores up, but like Justin Thomas had a fantastic, phenomenal day 1. Played absolutely superbly. A master of the wind, and I've said before, Justin Thomas for me is one of the best wind golfers in the world. And it's almost like his brain quietens down in the wind, and he just starts to play on feel. And I think Justin Thomas is one of those players. And when Justin Thomas is at his best, he is automatic. He is on feel. He is on that. And I think you can see when Justin Thomas starts thinking, a bit like Spieth, the more they think, the more they struggle. So I just looking at his round. So day 1 was 68, 3 under. Day 2 was
a tough scene.
78, 7 over.
That front 9, his feels on the front 9 were not good. He shot 45 on the front 9. He did say that he wasn't playing that poorly. It was just like that hard, and it's like I totally get that, but you got to do better than 45, bro.
The next day, round 3, on the front 9, he shot 5 under. Like, so look, shout out to Justin Thomas. And I think sometimes people go, "Oh, you don't like non-live players." That's bullshit. Like, I know Jay. Look, Jay. You are much more of a live fan than I am in the way that you are. We both love live, but you're more anti-PGA.
I'm more of a PGA Tour hater than you are. Let's put that out there. Except I have a track record. Justin Thomas is one of my favorite players left on the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
Even though his management is trash, even though he's been playing like trash the last year and a half. Look, I'm still backing it. I still think that JT's got more majors to win, 100%. So let's just get that out there.
We both love live, but you are more of a PGA Tour. But I just want to say, look, I love Justin Thomas's golf. I think he's fantastic, and I want huge credit for anyone that goes out day 1, shoots 3 under, day 2 shoots 7 over, makes the cut, one under the number. Round 3 shoots 4 under. Day 4 today shoots 6 over. To battle through that. And to go out there and play that golf in those conditions, he finished tied 31st, 6 over. Like, I just think sometimes people can be forgetting a bit about some of these players and the way they play. Is anyone that you thought of the last 2 days, both Jay go first, Red, one player that stands out, not say played well or played badly, but for whatever reason, for me, Justin Thomas is my standout player. He's ground out that from those different situations.
Yeah, I'll take 2 because this is something that all the PGA Tour stands and shills have been totally downplaying these guys for the last year. Number 1 is DJ. DJ, he tied JT, tied 31st, except he was playing so well, though, for 2.5 rounds. I was like, oh man, DJ's I'm not going to say anything about this on Twitter. I want him to do this under the radar. And just didn't quite finish as strong as I wanted to. He shot 75 today, kind of dropped him down because I think he was inside the top 15 yesterday. And for a while, he was looking like he was going to get under par, but kind of fell apart a little bit. Except, look, DJ, he hasn't had great form the back half of this year. I saw a couple things that I felt like he was trending up. I talked to Claude Harmon about it. He was like, DJ's playing great. He played well. Just had a couple of bad holes here and there. It is what it is. And then second, I got to shout out John Rahm. John Rahm was my pick to win this. He didn't win, except he finished tied 7th, shot 68 today. He looked in complete control of his golf ball today, which was really good to see. And everybody that watches LIV knows that he's been a top 10 machine this year. And he needed to get it going in the majors a little bit. And I saw a lot from him today and this week. Overall, he finished under par. Look, there weren't that many guys that finished under par. There's 9 guys that finished under par. So shout out John Rahm. I've already gone on record to say I'm guaranteeing John Rahm is winning one of the next 3 British Opens. So he will be a champion golfer of the year. Like I said, British Opens. He's winning one. And as a Spaniard, I'm sure he would call it British Open too. But
he call it the Open.
Neither here nor there. He'd probably call it the Open.
No, I've heard him call it British Open too. So people can switch too. Look, this says this flag says the Open. I have been to Troon. Obviously, I talked about that at length earlier this week. I talked about my
I
experience.
liked your tweet, by the way. I liked your tweet, and also
Yeah.
what I thought was really nice is that no one was hating on you in a tweet. I think that's the first tweet you've put up into the last.
That was a shocker. I was expecting somebody to say
in 2 years, like people didn't like say horrific things or anything racial. Like it was, they were actually really nice to you.
Yeah, look, because there weren't really any like strong opinions in that. It was just more talking
nice.
about experience. But it's like, yeah, and it was a great experience. Like whenever I talk about like my family or I talk about my dad, like that's like I think something that sort of pulls on people's heartstrings. But it's like I can't talk about that all the time. I'm going to tell people how I feel. I'm going to give them my expertise and critique. I'm pro golf critic for a reason. Like I'm going to give critiques that other people don't like. It just is what it is. So people out there, you just have to deal with it. I'm sorry.
Right.
Actually, I'm not even sorry.
He's gone off on one. Red. Tell me which player or players stood out to you?
I'm going to do two quick ones, and they're both LIV players, but one is not a full-time LIV player, but I really have to give credit to John Catlin. I really thought he was going to have a good week and started with a 76. Didn't look like he really had it. Came out the next day, shot 1 under. Next day, in the easier wave, he came out in the morning and he shot 2 under. He honestly had it going better than that. I really thought he had something and could get into the house. The back nine did what the back nine does at Troon, but shot even today. And honestly, I think for his caliber, which he's a good player, but just this is something you don't often see is a guy of his level getting a top 20 in the major. So
can I tell you where John Catlin really did struggle, and if you look at his scorecards, really interesting. Did not really get after the par fives at all.
Well, it was a John problem this week.
So day 2 and day 3, I was looking at it. So day 2 and day 3, and day 1. So across the first 3 days, he played the par fives in 1 under over 3 days. I'd have a look at today. The par fives. Yeah. So across all of the days, across four rounds of golf, he played the par fives in 1 under.
Yeah,
you can't win a major. And that, you could say the same with Rahm, couldn't you? Both of you say that Rahm didn't get after the par fives either. You look at John, kind of go, okay, well maybe each round you get one of those par fives. Then all of a sudden he's 1 under par, tied 7.
Yeah. It was painful watching John play those. John Rahm, that is, but he John Catlin too, and play those in even par today, and just like knowing he was kind of giving shots up after he made such a good charge too. And then the leaders, it seemed like it died down there for a little bit. I wasn't seeing a ton of reporting on the win, but some of the sticks seemed pretty calm here and there. So it was just one of those days where guys who went out a little earlier kind of got a little screwed. But and credit to John Rahm, like he played unbelievably in the conditions he went out in. I think, and he almost kind of caught all of them by surprise. And And then the other one, obviously, my guy, Dean the Machine. I mean, just an impressive run for him all the way up until like the 16th on Saturday. You know, he was shot 76 on Saturday, 5 over, and he did most of that just on the last few holes. And it's just disappointing to have that happen, but kind of put it together today with just an even round. And you know, those things are going to happen. I don't think the putter was necessarily there. It's not really his best tool anyways. And just kind of crazy. And Dean, actually, he had a chance to do what some of the other guys did to make birdie on number 8 all four days. He unfortunately dumped it in the bunker and then almost chipped in. But everybody I don't think anybody did that. Anybody who had a chance to do that missed it, because Xander had the chance to do it too. So, but got to shout out Dean the Machine. Just a really decent week for him. Could have been a lot better. Could say that for a lot of the LIV guys, unfortunately, and that's just how it kind of shapes out in the Open.
Yeah, I got to give a quick shout out to the postage stamp too. Like that hole is one of my favorite holes in the world for a reason. It actually played its shortest distance today. It only played 100 yards.
Mm-hmm.
It was still giving guys fits out there. That was actually the yardage that I played it on when I played it. Pin position actually exactly the same.
Oh yeah.
And it's It's really tricky. That hole is just really tricky. You just have to really commit to it. And I was really glad to see Dean commit to his shot and sort of hit good shots the majority of the days. Unlike Joaquin Niemann, who, let's be honest, when he made that quintuple bogey, it was definitely not his finest hour. But it can happen on that hole. You just get in the wrong spot, it could just spiral out of control very, very quickly.
Yeah, it's one of those. He's one of those. I just want to say very quickly, and I know Jay hates me when I talk about this. One of my favorite just relaxed swings in golf. I love Russell Henley. I love Russell Henley's swing. Mm-hmm. And Russell Henley, I think, has really outkicked his coverage in majors over the last couple of years. Like, for a guy that isn't like a major tour winner, or just not majors, a PGA Tour winner multiple times, he's not a name go, oh, Russell Henley's a winner. He balls out all the time. He's been sneaky good in majors. And I think sometimes, and you can look at Russell Henley, and you can look at someone like Sun Jae Im, and you can look at a few of the other players that have played well and have played on the past. And sometimes when the pressure's on and the conditions are shit, just being able to swing smoothly and strike a ball is a real benefit.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, we'll say Henley the last 2 years in majors has had 3 top 10s out of 8 tournaments, which is pretty good. I mean, it's not
that's incredible.
Yeah,
I bet if you asked anyone that wasn't a Henley fan, I might as well do nuclear and go like Russell Henley tracker, because I bet there isn't one.
No, there is one. I actually, because I got a Russell Henley tweet out, and the only person who liked it was a Russell Henley tracker.
So, so it's me and the Russell Henley tracker, the only 2 Russell Henley fans in the world. I think Russell Henley is one of the most underrated golfers. But he just swings smooth. He just puts his club behind the ball. He strikes it almost perfectly every time. Gets the ball up. There's so much to be said for that. And as Jay's just pointed out, that's 3 top 10s out of 8 events.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
I mean, look, you already know he's not my favorite. I understand all the reasons why you like him, but it is what it is. I can't like every golfer. Even if you went to LIV, I'd be like, I'm just not in on Russell Henley. I'm sorry. So yeah, it is what it is. I'm sure he has plenty of fans in Georgia. Shout out University of Georgia.
Let's say he's a Bulldog, right?
Yeah, he's a Bulldog. He's a Bulldog. So I'm sure like Bubba Watson's pulling for him, and Brian Harmon.
He should be out on Atlanta Drive. Get him on the drive.
Oh, that's actually, I like that. I like that take.
I was just checking the results. He just moved up to like 13th in the FedEx Cup standings. So big jump for him.
Let's just very quickly touch on my mate Laurie Cantor. Fantastic seeing him playing well at another Open, another major. You both know I'd love him to be back on LIV. I think it's criminal that he's not on LIV. We do, as you know, Red, we do the segment of who's still below Laurie Cantor in the points, and he's only played 2 events. But also, like, he finished tied 25th. Disappointing round for Laurie today, but I love players who grind. Laurie was 5 over with 2 to play and finished 3 over. When birdie. Yeah. That ability to grind has taken him from tied 43rd to tied 25th. That's good financially and is good points wise. Yeah. And that's great for Laurie. But obviously, it has been a little bit different story today. Not been 3 over, then we'd have seen him in the top 13, 15. But look, there we are. I want to just move very quickly.
Well, I gotta say one quick thing on Laurie. Did you guys see this at all? He almost aced 17.
Who?
Laurie Cantor almost aced 17. He had 10 inches on 17 today.
I saw it close. I didn't see it. Was it a flag? Was it a flag rattler or not?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It's like I don't mean to change this in a cover shake, but like I didn't see that all day. So
no,
he finished with 2 birdies.
Have you ever played on LIV? Yes, we'll probably not show much of it. We've lost Pro Golf Critic again. He must be having some internet issues. I'm going to text him and just say, "You've dropped off. You've dropped." That folks, I'm not even edit that out. We're not editing that out.
That's fine. Leave it in there.
Jay's dropped out. he will come back, I'm sure.
But yeah, no, you're talking about him being a grinder, and he probably could have finished a lot worse without making 2 birdies on the last 2 holes, and that's impressive to finish that way. So
outside the postage stamp, I've been very clear about my view on Troon. I think Troon's a world-class golf course, but I do think it is beauty-wise and playing-wise, there are 2 better 9s than the other. 1 better 9 than the other. And what I would say is that Troon was helped out by the weather this week.
yeah,
That course is so gettable if it's not blowing a gale. I'm not going to defend St Andrews. I think St Andrews is massively gettable. Turnberry isn't.
No, I agree with you though. I think it was helped out immensely by the weather, and we saw that from some guys who got to play in better days, like Lawrence. Is it Thurston? Thurston? Yeah. Lawrence. He went off on
Tristan.
One because he got an unbelievable. Yeah, he got a great break, and he rode a hot hand, and that's why he got himself to where he was. And then even today, when the weather died down, the wind died down a little bit, Xander shot 31 on the back. Like, and that's more credit to him too. He did an unbelievable job, but
yeah. I think for me, Troon's great, but I think it may be the easiest after St Andrews. It might be the easiest, most gettable course if the wind isn't playing.
Yeah, I think it's really hard to say that because there's some holes on that back 9 that, especially yesterday, it was just like a total nightmare for these guys. I mean, Shane Lowry was hitting driver into 15. Like, I mean, some of those conditions, and that's what makes the Open. Like, I mean, that's what it is. Like, this is what we want to see. Like, single digits under par 1. If we had bad weather today, it would have been a lot higher than that. It probably would have been closer to even par. And like, look, I just think that Troon, I've already said this. I said it on Spaces. I think that Troon is very, very artful when it comes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like not every 18 holes are a 10 out of 10, but to me, that's not what makes a great golf course. Like, a great golf course is like telling you a story throughout the round and sort of getting you into the round, and that's what those first 4, 5, 6 holes are all about. And then 7 through 12, like I said, it blew my mind when I was there on the grounds. Like, it's like I didn't have to take any pictures because every single one of those holes, like, it's just ingrained in my mind, and it was like this spiritual experience that, like, I haven't felt it very many places. So especially that tee shot on 10 and 11, like, those are 2 things that I'll never forget from the championship tees, and sort of seeing that, it was just completely blown away. So I've already said, look, Turnberry, I've got that number 3 in my rota. I've got Troon at 4, and the only 2 I have above that are St Andrews and Carnoustie.
I think St Andrews is overrated because of its history and its legacy, but
yes. I mean, I'm with you there, but it's the small things that St Andrews does that adds to it too. But
100%.
Not allowing you to book in advance.
Well, yeah.
No, just it's the tiny little antique things that you don't see a lot of other places, and
there's nothing, I mean, you
could say a lot of that.
No, that's because you got. Look, I'm not taking a comment about history and legacy from Americans.
We don't have any.
That is true. Look,
your course.
I'll be the first to say most of American golf is trash. Like, let's just call a spade a spade. Like, most of it is not good. That's why the PGA Tour isn't that good. This is you're gonna get me going off on this rant again, and I'm trying not to do it. But that's the reason why PGA Tour golf is not good. It's because they play too many of these courses that are not interesting. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I went to Burnham and Barrow the other week and played golf at Burnham and Barrow. That course like 135, 140 years old. Like, it's got history everywhere.
It's a great course.
Like,
isn't that where Justin Rose qualified for the Open?
Yeah, it's where Justin Rose qualified. It's where Anna Barnes missed out on the last hole. Loyal. Barnes got a reputation now missing out on the last hole, but there we are. Right, we're gonna have to wrap this up in a second because I got to go and cook dinner for the wife. But before we go, Is there anything to be read into Scotty holding his back? A few people saying Scottie Scheffler's got a bit of a back issue. Has he? And then everyone goes, "Oh well, it's because of his footwork." I'm not going to be here. I'm not going to jump into and go, "Oh, Scotty's got a bad back because his footwork." His feet are in the air, so he hasn't got the skew in his back. But do we think?
Yeah.
Do we think Scotty's got a bad back? He clutched it. Apparently, he clutched it 3 times during the round on three different iron shots. One was off a tee, which I saw, and I didn't see the other 2. I'm going by what other people wrote. It could be BS, but do we think Scotty could have a back issue? He didn't look comfy today.
Look, I think that, and this is something. Look, I don't want to see anybody get injured. It's something that's like, I'm very much against that. Obviously, his swing always kind of struck me as one that, like, how long is that going to last? Like, are we going to see Scottie Scheffler playing into his 40s with the same swing? Like, I don't know. Like, so. Like I felt the same about Zalatoris too a couple of years ago, just because it didn't feel like it was that like sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I have been saying, and I'm not going to take any victory laps on this yet. However, I have been saying for a while that this has been a great stretch of golf by Scottie Scheffler. There was going to be a cliff at some point. I didn't know when it was going to come. Still don't know. I think that we're probably here already, though. So, hopefully he's fine. Hopefully he could play the rest of the season. Like, they have a little bit of a break now anyway. Like, I don't think he's scheduled to play pretty much. Well, he's in the Olympics, but other than that, like, I think the next PGA Tour event that he plays is the playoffs, which is in like a month. So
yeah, he won't need to play anymore if he doesn't really want to. He probably doesn't even need to play the first event.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Like, because he's got such a huge lead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
especially now too. He adds this points on top of it. So as far as the back injury goes, I can't say. I did not see a whole lot of that. It is interesting, the snap hook. You know, that can be caused by something where
tee shot was an indicator.
Yeah. Because like he's always right out of the center of the face. So like for him to do that was just wild and
shocking.
And then he also, like, I don't know how good his live was. They didn't really get over there to see it. Shocking. But like he dropped immediately. So, you know, and like maybe that was just, I can't advance this 100 yards out of here. But at the same time, maybe he didn't want to take a hack out of where he was. So that would be disappointing. I think I would never wish an injury on anybody. And I think he adds a lot to the game. I know we kind of make fun of him for like the blandness and all that, but still, he's pretty good champion. You know, he has a very good chance of being one of the greats, and hopefully that's not the case. But I would just like to go out on a limb, and I kind of be there with Pro. Is I don't think that he is falling off, but I do think that we're going to start to see him possibly become this guy where Augusta is his spot, and he maybe wins more there, and we don't see him pop up as much, or we're not probably going to see him pop up because he does hit it so well. It's just, I have a question about the sustainability of the greatness elsewhere, but he seems to have Augusta dialed, and every week he will be coming, every year, coming there ready to play. And I also, just hilarious side note is like, how many Augusta pin flags is Teddy Scott going to have hanging on his wall by the end of his career? Because he's got 4 now.
He's got 4. Yeah.
So, and he's got nothing else. So,
yeah, great caddying too. Like, that means a lot around Augusta too, and it means less, I think, at some of these other major venues, because it's hard to find a caddy that like knows these venues that well.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things I've said about it. And caddying around Augusta, because you play it all the time, is so different to caddying around Troon every 8 to 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Let's call it. Let's wrap it up with one last message from me. What a week for Dan Brown, playing in his first ever major, finished top 10, walked with $350,000, life-changing amount of money for a young man. I say young man, he's not 12, you know what I mean?
He's 29. Yeah, 29.
But 29-year-old getting $350,000 for one event. It's catapulting him up in the rankings. He's booked his place to Portrush next year because he's top 10. What a week for Dan Brown.
Yeah.
Seconded. Yeah, completely agree. Shout out to him. I think that the Open is like a great place for, you know, some of the lesser knowns to sort of elevate themselves and sort of put themselves on the the main stage, particularly like European players, because I've seen this. And Red and I know this because of all of the sort of American bias in golf we have to deal with every day. A lot of these people in the sort of golf journalists, like they don't know who like any of these guys are. Like they don't know who a lot of the European Tour players are, and I think it's kind of a little bit of a problem. So I like to see some of these guys that are lesser known sort of get up there. Like a lot of these guys I've known for a while because I followed the European Tour almost as closely as like some of the other tours. So yeah, shout out to him. I knew that he qualified. I didn't really know that much about his career. I know he's like 270 in the world or something like that, which is like 200 places above Dustin Johnson. So it's a story for another day. I'm not going to go off on an OWGR rant, but shout out to
promised
Deborah.
I would start making dinner soon. We're not getting you on the OWGR. So should we say goodbye to everybody?
Yeah,
that's fair.
Say goodbye, everybody. Bye, everybody.
All right,
bye, guys.
thanks.